Hey, welcome back to another video. Well, we're out at the third bay today. Two lenses we're going to be playing with. Got the 100 to 400 with the Nissi macro lens on it, and I brought out my old vintage Canon FD 100 macro lens. So beautiful old lens in mint condition. It's great not only for macro but also for getting a really nice bokeh and depth of field on it. So haven't been to this place before, but it looks amazing. I'll show you around in a second. What a spectacular landscape. Beautiful rocks like you've got here in the background. This granite, I think granite or whatever it is, and then the ocean is carved there. There's moss on the rocks. It's a bright, sunny, clear day. There's a little bit of cloud around, but not much, so it's going to be pretty bright, so I'm going to have to work hard. Maybe some ND filters on here. I didn't bring my circular polarizer. Left it on my other lens. What a mistake. But it should be really good anyway. I think it's going to be good. So looking for some intimate scenes, and we're going to try and work small, but I've also got the option to get big. There's lots of waves. There's some surface down the other end. Heaps to do. Let's go see what we can find here at Third Bay. What a gorgeous little location. Rightio, let's hit that intro. First real composition. Just had a bit of a walk around. Obviously really bright, so tricky. So you can see here I've got this set up. I've got the 100mm vintage on to start with. I'm going to try and work with that. See if I can't get a couple of shots. Is tricky without a polarizer, and obviously that 100mm being a fixed lens, a prime lens, makes it tricky as well. But at the moment, just these, just the patterns in the sand. F16, so it's obviously all manual. So F16, and I'm running 1/80th of a second, 100 ISO, and taking a shot, and it looks pretty good. Just trying to make sure I get everything sharp that I wanted sharp. Obviously, because of the height in the undulations in the sand, you're going to have different focuses. So just with F16 should be able to sort of get most of that. There's a bit of water in between them, so not everything's going to be super sharp, but the top of the little peaks should be all sharp. So that's what I'm just checking now, and that all looks pretty good. Check another one. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Right, so I'm happy with that one. That's one in the bag, so that's good. Being a macro, I can go smaller if I need to, but also with that 100, it's still like a 100mm lens, so you've still got those options to go and grab something if you need it. I've got the 100 to 400. There's a lot of waves crashing while I've been walking around, so I think I'm probably going to do maybe some wave stuff on some of the rocks. There seem to be some decent sets coming through, so whether I can get some nice waves crashing with 100 to 400 on, that might be an option in my sleeve as well. I'm going to try and head over here. There's some beautiful green moss on the rocks, but it seems to be where the water is, so it's going to be tricky to get into it and try and get a shot. I'd like to get some macro of that. I'll see if I can find some areas and go from there. A little bit tricky with the vintage lens. Obviously, no stabilization, no autofocus, so tricky. So I've run around with it a little bit, and it's definitely a tricky one to use, especially the 100mm. It's some of the close-up shots I got, I think worked out pretty good, and also trying to adjust for a wave when it comes so I don't get smashed to get in. So I took some shots down here of this seaweed or whatever, the plankton growing on the rocks just here from back over here, shooting down. The 100mm give me the length so I can get into that. Some shots down here, and some of these little mollusks on here on the rocks that you can see growing on here. Close up to them, I could sit there and do it. having the bright sun in that regards to the macro stuff and the smaller stuff is good. but being the vintage side is a little bit tricky because obviously you've got no stabilisation, so you either have to set everything up with a tripod, which takes longer, or I was up at a height. I just cranked up my shutter speed to 400 for the second, which lets me get some of that action as well. So any of the rocks and handheld shots over here that I shot, I was able to get the waves in action. It's all happening here. So what I'm going to do now is I'll chuck the 100 to 400 on and just see the difference on what I can get and what I can capture with it. Obviously I've got autofocus, I've got stabilisation on that, so that makes a massive difference, especially I can shoot around handheld as if I can't get some shots. Some of this area here I want to try and get in a little bit closer. That 400 should be able to get in a little bit closer. Obviously I can't because of the waves crashing, and we've got some big sets coming through. I can't get in there with a macro and set up the macro on it. So macro is going to be really tricky today. The stuff that's in the dry areas there's some options there, but I'm not sure how much. Anyway, we'll chuck the 100 to 400 on, try and go and get some shots, and then see what else we can find without getting wet. That's the tricky part. Rightio, so what we're doing now, I found a little spot, 100 400, I found this little area. I was able to get in and get some of these little seaweed, I guess you'd call it, that's growing on the rocks where the water's splashing. Must be the oxygen in the water or something, not 100%. But if you look over at, just behind the camera, where's the finger? Just here on that other rocks, when the big waves crash, there's like a little mini waterfalls coming through. So you can see how it's just falling down through those cracks in the rock, and then that's what I've sort of got that in. I've got that sort of pointy rock in the background as well. And what I've got on, I've got the 32 ND 1000 or 32 ND 1000, 32,000 ND filter on. 2 minutes 11 using the Missy app. There's not enough green to worry about using the IR filter, so that's really not going to make much difference. So yeah, 32 ND, it'll flatten out the water, but it should give me some water flow over those rocks, so that's sort of what I'm hoping for. Tricky sort of composure, I'm not sure how it's going to work. There's a fair bit of foreground in the front that's sort of breaking that just before the waterfalls, but with the waves crashing like they are now, it's sort of a good opportunity to have a crack and see what I can't get. And it just comes up. Yeah, that worked. So what it sort of looks like is a bit of a mist in the water background where that large rock is pointing. That's all turned into a bit of a mist, white mist from all the waves. And then you can see a little bit of water flow through. So it's worked. I might try another exposure. Just see the difference. If I can get two different types there, one might be better than the other. It's only 2 minutes 11, so it's not a really long exposure, so I don't have to worry about wasting too much time. So it's worth a crack anyway. Other than that, 100 to 400, obviously, I've also always had a bit of dramas with this lens, with the autofocus on it. It struggles to find focus a lot of the time, even on the R6M2. Not sure why, it shouldn't, but maybe I've got a faulty lens, I'm not 100%, but it has struggled. So I've a lot of time got to go switch it over to the manual, get the focus there, and then the autofocus will take over. So it does struggle a little bit, but it's been a lot better. With the 400 on, I'm able to get down and get a lot more, get into places I couldn't go without getting wet, I guess, if that makes sense. So definitely a good option. Anyway, we'll do another exposure. If it's any good, we'll chuck a photo up and we'll see what else we can do. Rightio, so sort of finished up then this end. Just thought I'd give you a quick look around. It's just an awesome little spot. Definitely a sunrise. I can envisage a sunrise here. People over on the beach over here swimming. There was some surfers down further. But yeah, just perfect for just shapes. So many different shapes. Fortunately, just because of this big bright sun, it's just a little bit too harsh to sort of work the rocks like you could. But a sunrise, golden sunrise, would be amazing here. So many opportunities. Waves crashing. You've got all these different patterns and textures in the rocks. It's pretty just another little awesome spot here on the sunny coast that you could come and use to your advantage. Done and dusted for the week. Yeah, look, fantastic. Just the light is a bit too bright for this spot. Yeah, I think next time I'll come back with a 15 to 35, 2.8, 24 to 105, and I'll come for a sunrise. What an amazing spot. So many compositions I found that would suit the morning with the golden now coming over the water over here. This little rock just down here is isolated, so I'm definitely locking that one in. I want to get that shot. Perfect for the morning. Come here, set up on the rocks. A bit of water with the golden hour behind it, that beautiful light, and be able to lock it in and get some water flow and a nice long exposure. I think that'd be magnificent. And there's a couple others over that side as well when we first started. Really enjoyed it. Another great place. Definitely I want to come for a sunrise and do some other stuff here. And just even with if there's some cloud around, would make a big difference. It's just very, very bright and harsh. But hopefully I got some good photos, and if I have, I'll chuck them up, and I will see you all next week. Okay, stay safe. Thanks for coming by. Peace.